3:30.
I'd like to welcome everyone here. The 26th April 2022 Jackson County Commission meeting is called to order. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Johnson to please call the roll to establish a quorum.
Commissioner Rich, Commissioner Venable,
Present.
Commissioner Buckner,
Present.
and Commissioner McBride.
Present. We do have a quorum. At this time, I'd like everyone to please stand. I'd like to ask Mr. Porter, our county attorney, to please offer our invocation, and Commissioner Buckner to please lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
God our Father in heaven, we recognize that you're in charge of all things. You created everything on heaven and on this earth, and for that we're thankful. We are especially thankful today for those men and women who have chosen to serve the public through government service at all levels of government, but particularly serving this county. So thankful for them and for the service that they provide and for the families that support them. We're thankful for those that have been here for a long time. I pray that some of the new employees can continue to serve and work with this county. God, we're blessed in so many ways. We're thankful for. We're thankful for your Son, Jesus Christ. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'd like to move to approve the agenda. Would like to make an amendment to the agenda and like to amend the meeting session by moving from our work session item C3, Jacobs Well and Flat Rock Food Bank options, from work session to our meeting agenda. We have had previous discussion on those items and are supportive of those items. So if I could get a motion to approve the agenda as amended by moving item C3 to the meeting agenda to be inclusive of Jacobs Well and Flat Rock Food Bank options.
I'll make the motion with that amendment.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. And all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Agenda's amended as noted. Tonight we have several awards and presentations. And at this time, Michelle, if you would please. And I would like all the commissioners to please come down and join in this, because we are as a group recognizing the service of these employees. Ms. Sherry Walden, Sheriff's Office, please come forward. What we want to start doing is recognizing the dedication of our county employees who spend a lot of years working to take care of the citizens of Jackson County. When you think about someone putting in 10, 15, 20, 25, or even 30 years, that is truly dedicated support for the people of our county. And we just want to say thank you for that, all of us, every one of us as commissioners, and all of our county would like to say thank you. So to Ms. Sherry Walden, we have a significant recognition that is given in appreciation for your 25 years of dedicated service to the Jackson County Commission. And it's presented this day, the 26th day of April 2022.
Look here. Cheese. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Marty May. I know he's out there somewhere. Ms. Again, Marty, thank you so much for your dedicated service to our county, and this significant recognition is awarded to Mr. Martin May in appreciation for your 20 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Jackson County, presented on this, the 26th day of April, 2022.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, I'm getting corrections here, so bear with me. So, Mr. Patrick Mount, not here? Okay, and we will get this mailed to him, but this certificate of recognition is given to Mr. Mount in appreciation for his 20 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Jackson County.
He's out because of medical conditions.
Okay. Miss Cammy Puckett. Come on up, Cammy. Cammy is certainly with our commission office, and we thank her for everything that she does for us. And this significant certificate of recognition is awarded to Miss Cammy Puckett in appreciation for her 20 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Jackson County, presented on this 26th day of April, 2022.
3, 2, 1. That's for the account.
Scott Flanagan. Scott, thank you, sir. This certificate is recognition is awarded to Scott in appreciation for his 15 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Jackson County, presented on this 26th day of April, 2022. Thank you so much.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, thank you. We have another significant certificate, an individual who is not able to be with us today. It is a certificate of recognition that is awarded to Joy Jenkins, and it's in appreciation for 10 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Jackson County. And we will make sure that this certificate is mailed to her. Michelle, thank you. Now we'll turn the floor over to the Sheriff's Department.
This is something that should have been done a long time ago, but
Did you tell them why it wasn't done then?
Mr. Patel decided to get married and had to go to India to do it. So he was off for a long time,
They
but
got quarantined out of the country.
yeah. But this, he'd only been working for the sheriff's office at the jail for about 8 months, maybe going on 9 months, when he was voted by his peers as the Corrections Deputy of the Year for 2021.
Come on up.
So can you guys? 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. Congratulations. Do we have the sign-up sheet? So at this time, we'll move to public comment, and tonight we have one speaker, Mayor Caleb Skipper, Town of Skyline. Sir? I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. It's just the
I plead the
formality
fifth.
of making sure we're on the record here. You are?
My name's Caleb Skipper. A few of y'all might know me. I'm the mayor of Skyline, Alabama. Come to speak to y'all tonight about a few things.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You have 5 minutes.
Can I pass some stuff out first?
Absolutely.
Let's see. I don't have too much stuff. First thing I'm passing out is going to be water bills for about a year. This is about Cumberland Mountain Park, one of y'all's parks. This is for, I think the water bill should actually run 25 months. And then here is power bills for 12 months. And the town of Skyline does pay both of these. So what we're getting at is we're wanting to make a lot of improvements to the park at Cumberland Mountain, and with improvements it's money, and with a little town you get a little money, and we've been spending it past few years trying to update the park with the basketball courts, the fields, the concession stands. Last year I was told that we didn't even have a hot water in the concession stand, so we added a hot water heater. You'd be amazed how many moms shook my hand to thank me for hot water so they can wash the dishes at the end of the game. But like I said, the county owns it. I've talked to a few of y'all, and Skyline leases it. I've talked to Mr. Porter through email, and we cannot find one, a signed contract. Have y'all had any luck?
I have not found a signed contract.
I have here the contracts, supposedly. It is a contract, but it's just not a signed contract. I only printed one because the courthouse, I forgot to print it, so I had to get it printed here. So I didn't want to use all y'all's paper, so I only did one copy. But Mr. Porter I'm sure he can get y'all that. But neither one was signed. The first one was done in 2006. And then it was an amendment, or we changed it in 2009,
Right.
Some writing. And we've looked over at the town of Skyline, cannot find anything. Like I said, Mr. Porter, I don't think he can find anything. So with that being said, no contract, we need to come up with something. Because the town can't keep doing what we're doing with it. Y'all's park, y'all on the land. And say 10 years from now, we got a new crew up here and they want to put some cabins up there on the Great Skyline Mountain, and then all that money's gone to waste. Last year we redid the basketball court. That was about $7,000 on sealing. Now we need 3 loads of dirt for the big field and the little field. We got a price for that. 2 loads of dirt is going to be about $3,100, I believe it is, for the brick dust. So, like I said, stuff adds up, and we've got to come up with something. And it's to the point where we're about ready to toss y'all the keys and say, there you go, because we can't keep doing what we're doing. And unless y'all changed it, you go on the county website, and it's listed Cumberland Mountain Park, one of Jackson County's parks, and it says clearly it's maintained by Jackson County. And since I've been part of the council and mayor, the county has not maintained the park. I've asked some of the guys that's been around longer. They said several years ago, probably before I was born, the county would give $500 to help out. So I'm here to see what we can do to fix this, because we've got a great park out there. Right, matter of fact, we got 3 t-ball teams playing out there tonight. Biggest group we've had this year. I think we've got 3 t-ball teams, 2 softball teams, a couple baseball teams. And you go out there and it looks like we ain't taking care of it, but it just costs a lot of money, and we've spent a lot of money. And we're needing some help. And like I said, since it's y'all's park, y'all own it, I feel like y'all should be able to help us more than anybody. Got any questions for me?
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Just curious, the power bill seems pretty consistent, except spiking, and I assume that's concession stand?
Yeah, that's gonna be concession stand during season.
Okay.
Because we've got, hot dog warmer, water heater, all that stuff, so that's gonna jump up. And then off season, it should just be the minimum. Also, on the power bill, see, there's 4 meters. That's another thing people don't realize. So we've got a meter for the concession stand, we got a meter for the lights, we got a meter for the scoreboard. So, that's a minimum fee, even if you ain't running it.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
Just one. Have you already done this math where you say what the average
Yeah.
billing is?
Yes, sir. So the power bill is going to be $3,149.69 for 12 months. And the water bill, like I said, I asked for 12 months and she printed me 25, so I wasn't going to argue with her, was $554.90 for the water bill.
Annual.
Well, that was actually for 2 years,
Okay,
for 25 months,
So,
actually.
so 250.
But the power bill was for 12 months.
What was that total again?
The power bill was $3,149.69.
Okay.
And again, we're paying that. And like I said, I'm sure y'all know this. Y'all got another park. Is it Flat Rock, Northside Mountain? Y'all pay the utilities out there. I mean, even that makes a big difference on a little town of less than 900.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I can say that the park was originally leased to Skyline in 2006. And then in 2009, I think the city got a grant from ADECA. And we had to amend the lease to extend the term. I think it's 99 years, a long time. Long enough to meet their requirements.
I believe it's 30 years.
Okay, may have been 30 years, but, and I have a letter from ADECA saying that they have seen the signed lease, so I'm certain it was signed. I don't have a copy, and apparently they don't have a copy of the signed lease either, but I'm sure it was signed by both parties. So we just need to try to figure out where the signed copy is.
Okay. Well, I think we need to take this under consideration and maybe put this on the agenda for a future work session.
Yeah, just like to
discuss.
I just want to come and voice what we got going on out there, and that way y'all can start working on it, because like I said, it's to the point where we're about to toss the keys and say, that's all we can do. And I don't want to do that, but like I said, it's about to the point.
Okay, well, let me say thank you for all y'all do out there at the park. I mean, that's not money, but we do appreciate you, and we certainly need to address those issues. But I know without community support and the parents pulling together and you guys, that place just wouldn't function.
Oh yeah, and it's not me. I mean, it's definitely the parents, the coaches. I mean, they're the ones that keep it together. We got a park board. We're trying to do 1-year terms, and this board we got now, they're doing great. I mean, to see the kids' faces coming in playing too. I'm a baseball guy, so I love it. But I come up there. Matter of fact, after this, I'm headed up there. We got 2 or 3 games tonight. So it's just anything we can do to keep the kids out playing and not on Xbox and whatever else they got nowadays. I'm all for it.
How much was the brick dirt?
Let me give you the exact price if you got a second. He texts me. I forgot to write it down. So plain surface for 2 loads is $3,120. And that's just for 2 loads.
Right. And how many do y'all need? More than 2?
Well, 2 will get us by, but like I said, we got 2 fields. The top field, if you go up there and look, there's a lot of erosion. It really needs some clay, loads of clay first, and then some brick dust put on top of that. But, anything's better than sliding on sand rock.
There's money that comes in through concessions and gate. I'm sure
Yeah, so that,
it's short of taking care of.
yeah, so that's another thing. So we had a hot dog warmer. I mean, this is just little things. We had a hot dog warmer that worked great, and then it come up missing. So I got to asking, well, it was apparent when their kids played, they bought it and donated it. Well, that's theirs. They just said, hey, you can use it. Well, now their kids playing high school ball, so they want the high school to use it. I don't blame them. They bought it. So we lost our hot dog warmer. So I bought a hot dog warmer the other day, and y'all know how much a hot dog warmer is? About $400. So there went concessions for 2 nights.
Right.
So, but nobody wants to eat a cold hot dog.
I was up visiting with you up there a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
One of the things we talked about was lighting.
Yes,
What's the
and
status of that?
didn't want to throw too much on y'all, but we've had the power board come look at the poles, and they're, first of all, they're way too high. They're probably 70, 80 feet high. If I don't think they're lower than that, and they really need to be lower. But the bad thing is, in the big field, I had one of the linemen tell you, he said, you almost can stick your finger through some of the poles. They're so hollow in the middle, and that's a whole nother situation. We need lights in the big field. The little field's pretty good, but the big field needs lights. I mean, really, today. And with the poles, it's just not safe. I mean, they could fall any time. We had one guy come. We had the lights go out last year, and he said every one of them needed new breakers. He said the breakers were bad. So I'm not an electrician. I don't know exactly. But he pretty much said we needed pretty much a new system. The high school softball team, they just got 7 or 8 lights around that range, and it was like $13,000. And that was just lights. That's not poles. So really we need poles and then get the lights.
I would ask that when we put this on a work session to discuss, that you would be here.
Yes, sir.
And be able to lay out all costs associated.
Yes, sir. I can get all that to you, and if y'all don't have my number, I can get it to you. Call me anytime, and we'll talk about it. If you want to come out there and look, I love people come to Skyline.
You'd also mentioned to me about wanting to upgrade the bathroom facility down below the tennis courts.
Well, y'all said 5 minutes, so I didn't want to keep going.
Well, we're asking questions.
There's a lot. His list is gonna be long.
Well, you would have that information and.
Yes, sir. So what he's talking about is the pavilion down at the bottom, which has a meter to it. There's a set of bathrooms to it. They're locked. From what I've been told, there's no septic tank to it. So to use the bathroom at the pavilion, you got to walk a country mile up to the big field where the bathrooms are. So who wants to rent a pavilion? Who wants to go to a pavilion for a barbecue when you got to walk uphill to use the bathroom? So there's just a lot of things to the park that needs done that we all need to put our heads together and take care of it.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Thanks very much.
I appreciate it, and I'm going to go on because we got some T-ball games.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good one.
I thought you were going to stay here for the whole commission.
I will if I need to.
Okay. Excuse me. Thanks, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Okay. At this time, we will move into the meeting portion of our agenda. The minutes are in your packet for our 11 April 2022 meeting. At this time, if I can get a motion to adopt the minutes as provided from the April 11th, 2022 meeting.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next in the packet is a motion to approve the change of address for voting precinct at Skyline to be 52 Green River Drive, Scottsboro, Alabama, 35768, due to the moving of the precinct, or moving of the town hall. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion, and I apologize, I didn't think of this earlier. I knew the Skyline Town Hall was moving, but I didn't know that was their voting place, so I apologize for not getting this to the commission sooner.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
So just, is this going to be at the town hall or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they
And
need
so
to-
17 is Green River Drive or?
Yeah, the current town hall's not there anymore. They sold the property and built a new Dollar General, and they remodeled the senior center.
Well, I knew that.
Split it in half.
So is that where the town hall is? So that's what I'm asking, is County Road 17 what they're calling
Yeah.
Green River?
Yeah,
Okay.
There's a little road behind it,
Yeah.
that's their
Oh,
address.
okay. All right. I was just confused by the address.
Okay, any further question, discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. With that, we will look at our items that we moved into the new meeting, that is Jacob's Well and Flat Rock Food Bank options. Those two organizations came to see us several times over the last month or so, couple of months, and requesting support. We've had speakers here regarding Jacob's Well, and we had speakers come and talk to us regarding Flat Rock food bank options. We've looked at this option a couple of different ways. We started off thinking that we could make an adjustment to our Cdbg grant money to fund this, but once we got into discussions with TARCOG, which is the sponsor for those funds, as well as ADECA, we were not going to be able to use those funds for that. An option to consider is the use of general fund monies. So with that, let me get a motion and then we'll have discussion with that. So do I have a motion to approve the use of general fund monies for the use of support for Jacob's Well and Flat Rock Food Bank construction options?
I would like to make that motion and end the discussion with, about it being 501(c) and making sure that it is eligible for general fund dollars. But I do make the motion to.
Do I have a motion?
Well, the motion would be to, we need to assign a dollar amount.
Right.
Jacob's Well had requested $60,000. They're going to do an ADECA grant, or is it ADECA? Who were they getting along through?
They were going to try and get along through USDA.
USDA loan. They had requested an annual amount, which would be okay with the grant dollars that we got through TARCOG, but it would run us past the end of the grant. And then the Flat Rock had requested, I don't have my
50.
They had made a couple of different requests, but anyway, when I broke down what Flat Rock said their building was going to cost and what they've already spent, and what Jacob's Well building was going to cost, if we done $60,000 to Jacob's Well, we would do $51,000 to Flat Rock, would be the same percentage of money against the total projected cost. So my motion would be for $60,000 to Jacob's Well and $51,000 to the Flat Rock Community Food Bank.
And to come out of our
general fund.
Okay. So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. With that, that's the last item of our meeting. We now will move into work session, and we have several items in our work session. First, at a previous work session, we had a discussion about flooring in KC's restaurant at the park. So we'd like to get an update on KC's floor repair cost estimates, please.
Okay, gentlemen, I believe you have a copy of the two complete quotes that I got. There was a third company came out and quoted only the flooring replacement, and no, they don't do any subflooring work. So they referred me to somebody else who could do the subfloor work, who was supposed to come and look at it and give some pricing and estimates there, but that fellow never showed up. So the third quote that I tried to get was incomplete. But as you can see here, they're both very, very close. One, the Monarch quote gave two options, one without and one with a plywood installation, which we definitely need a plywood installation there as part of the subfloor. The other quote from Kimberly Ann's Flooring here in town They were actually familiar with the floor. They had actually come out at some point in the past couple of years, before my time at the park, but at some point in the past 2 years, and looked at it and given somebody a quote. They'd never done the work, but they were familiar with it and knew, kind of had a pretty good idea of what it needed. So they seemed to think they could take care of it. Of course, both quotes also acknowledged that, you know, if there was any work to be done, once they got the flooring off, if there was any subfloor repair, if there were any beams or anything that needed to be modified, replaced, or whatever, that it could be more. But those are the quotes we've got. As far as time to do the work, both of them are at this point 6 to 10 weeks out, depending on when they get the materials in and whatever their work schedule is. So as far as getting it done, there's really no difference in time frame there.
Okay, any questions, comments? I do notice on Kimberly Ann's quote that it says priced empty. I assume that means that the floor is all the tables.
Yes,
things from
that
it.
is correct. Yes,
So is that something
yes.
the restaurant's going to do, or
Our maintenance crews will probably do that, and whoever does it, it probably would be a couple of days, and we would have to work with KC's to probably then be closed for those 2 days, which is similar, if you recall, last summer, I believe it was late July, early August, the concrete portion of the floor was redone, and they were closed during those days to do that. So we'd have to coordinate between the flooring company and with KC's for them to be closed a couple of days for the work to be done. But yeah, empty means we would just
and that coordination would be very important to me, because I don't want either business being held up by the other, so it needs to be something that.
Yeah, that would all be, I would have to get with the flooring company and say, you give me a range of a 2 or 3 week period here, and then I'd have to go back to KC's and say, hey, here's the range, what works best for you. So yeah, we'd have to coordinate that.
Do we need to enter into a contract with this company for this flooring, or is this just a purchase order kind of activity?
You need a contract.
That's what I thought. Okay. All right, so we would need to put together a contract and bring that before the commission to vote on for approval. Can we do that by next, well, I guess we have time, but if we could do it by next meeting, that'll be great, but we certainly need to get it done.
Yeah,
So,
well, we need to get it on the schedule.
Yes.
With materials and availability are always a question, and pricing as well, you know.
So let me ask, is there material availability going to be, that timeline going to be contingent on the date that we sign the contract?
Neither one anticipated any issues with getting this. This is a fairly common commercial vinyl flooring. They didn't anticipate any issues at this point, and have not seen any, but
Okay.
you know, that's always a fluid situation. But neither one of them anticipated any long delays.
Okay, my question basically was, do they start that process of that timeline when we sign the contract or from today?
I would think from the time of contract, because they're not going to order anything
Yeah,
until we're
that's what I
committed to
suspect.
committed to it.
So it'd be good for us to have that available at the next commission meeting for consideration. Okay? All right, thank you very much. Next, we have a contract for the roof repair of Liberty Lane, so let me ask our Director of Maintenance, Mr. Gann, to give us an update on that.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. The construction on the roof of Liberty Lane building has began. They expected to get about 40 square done today. They're expecting the job to be over within 3 weeks, weather permitting, which is within our timeline, contract and everything. There was a delay getting it started because of trying to acquisition the shingles. It took 4 to 8 weeks was the timeline they were going to get them once they were ordered. So it ended up being about 4 weeks before they actually got them and got it started. The findings that we found so far from what they've worked, there is significant damage to the decking underneath there. There may end up being a little bit more materials than what we expect, having replaced that plywood. it's been sitting up there, it's been needing a roof for a while, and that's kind of what happens when it sits there and it needs one. But yeah, it should be about 3.5 weeks max, and they're going to be out of there, and that's weather permitting. For consideration, for something y'all to consider, this company also that has this contract also does some gutter work. They install commercial, residential gutters as well. I'm going to have them get me a quote of what a new gutter system would cost for that building. It's something it needs dearly to pull that water away from the building. Only about half the building has gutters that's on it, and what we do have, they're all about an inch shorter than what they need to be. There's only about 1.5 inches of exposed gutter that even catches any rain from the runoff of the roof. I'm going to get that quote, and I can get that to y'all by the next commission meeting. If it's something that's reasonable, it may be something for consideration, since they have won the bid with us. We shouldn't need another bid process, because in our contract there is some play for extra work that can be contracted through them without having them go back through the bidding process. So I think would that be correct, Mr. Porter?
I think so. And so, Kobe, you're talking about what drains to what I call the interior, but the non-perimeter of the building, the little inlets, where that's just sitting water. A lot
Absolutely.
of times.
Absolutely. And even around the outlet where it drains out the outlet, mainly on the back of the building, there is a grade that comes down, but the water has run off so aggressively that it's built ditches back there in the back. And that's just going to continue to wash unless we point that water in the right direction. So we can't do it without gutters. There's only about 1/3 of the building that actually has gutters left up there.
We do have a water problem close to the building, and trying to figure out how we can move that water away from the building. Looking this afternoon or this morning, as walked around, we saw a number of places where the guttering has come up loose from the facing. I would suspect there may be some facing issues as well as when we get into that. I think if there are, we need to look at. I would propose we at least need to look at that and consider that to do that. So, any other questions?
Of course, the funding issue on that, with it being water related, mold related, integrity of the building, maybe not so much, but definitely divert the waterways. That's something that ARPA funds could be used for, since it would be to improve the quality of the building from a health standpoint.
Well, that's a good option for us to consider as we look at that. And we can ask those questions to do that, because this is not being taken care of with ARPA funding. We would then need to do that at the time we do the ARPA upgrade to the building. And that's certainly reasonable to do at the time. But I would suspect right now you may want to take down the guttering.
Yes, they're all going to be taken down. It's just,
you guys know better than me, construction, but...
they're going to have to remove them anyway to put all the shingles up, take everything down, so there's no reason to put them back up. They're not doing
So
anything.
well, we won't know, but hypothetically, if I'm doing roofing and a guttering project, it'd be cheaper for me to do them at the same time as it would be to come back, or is that just me? Because I would assume it's the same folks, but it may be different folks.
It would be the same people that are there doing it now. That's what was explained to me, is that they do both, and they usually do the roof first, and then they do the gutters next, because it has to be out of the way for the facing and everything.
So I would propose that we get an estimate and then consider that future work session.
And I can get other quotes as well. It's just if we get other quotes and that's what we want, then we'd have to go through the bid process again, which is not an issue, but.
Well, if it's under $15,000, we wouldn't have to go through.
Under 50.
Under $50,000, we wouldn't have to go through the bid process
Mm-hmm.
again. So I would like for us to at least let some local contractors,
Yes, sir.
this company that wanted to bid, wasn't a local, and I'm glad they bid on it, and glad they're doing the work, but, you know, before we just hire them to do additional work, I'd like to at least give the opportunity for local contractors to chime in on it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next item in our work session is our E911 computer-aided dispatch, RFP. With the Cdbg grant, we had money for computer-aided dispatch components. As we got into looking at that, we realized that a better option was to look at upgrading our computer-aided dispatch system that's in our E911 center. A lot of work has gone into this. We've had participation from the Sheriff's Office, the Police Office here in Huntsville, the Rural Fire Department organization, as well as the E911 board and E911 and others. And there's been general agreement that this is a good approach for us to take with that. We have gone through the process. We do have now an RFP that is ready for final and ready to go on the street. I know it says 40-something pages of RFP here, just some quick summaries of this RFP. This computer-aided dispatch system will be for use at 2 locations, one the E911 Center and one the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. If you, I'm going to call out some pages you may want to flip through, just for topical headings on page 9. One of the things that we have done, first of all, we put together an RFP that requires a bid process, a formal bid process, as well as a formal source selection process of the bids that come in. One of the items that is part of this RFP is to offer potential offerors the opportunity to come in for on-site visits to look at the current 911 system as they put together their responses. There is a bid evaluation process that will be followed. There are 3 areas of bid evaluation that will be done by committees for each of the areas. One will be general requirements evaluation, one will be technical requirements evaluation, and one will be pricing evaluation. Those committees will then work together to evaluate the bids and make a recommendation. If you go to page 13, it starts general requirements. The point is of that it requires that our contractors who are going to bid show their qualifications and their experience. It requires them to outline their business history and their financial standing, as well as their manufacturer and integrator design confirmation, and also provide references so we can go back and do past performance checks. The proposed system information is on page 15. The district desires, that's us, desires to have a site at the Jackson County 911 dispatch and a remote site at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. This proposal lays out that we intend to install 7 CAD workstations at the following locations: 5 at the 911 Center, 2 at the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. There's also intended that to install 6 view-only reporting workstations at remote locations and connect them to the primary sites for the system. On the following page, it just starts the technical requirements. There's a technical requirements list, very detailed for the CAD system. Then if you look at it on page 25, it starts the technical requirements for the mobile CAD system that will be a part of this system. And then you get into installation requirements, training requirements, and maintenance requirements for the system, and warranty requirements. And the offer is required to respond to the details of the request for proposal. I would like to ask Mr. Johnny Robinson for any comments that he may have regarding this, as well as Mr. Steve Helms.
This is something that's going to greatly improve what we have now for a CAD system. It will help our the firefighters out in the field, well, all the first responders actually, we'll be able to send out a text to each responder to let them know what's going on. It'll save some on radio traffic, which will free up the dispatchers for other things. It's a step in the right direction to get us on the same level as what some of the larger counties are using as far as their CAD system goes.
Okay. Mr. Evans?
My only comment is follow on to Jackson County, something, and Scottsboro, something special. This is a special opportunity to do something that will help all people in Jackson County, not just in the town, but all out there. So I think it's a good opportunity to do something special. So I'm really looking forward to having this thing done. So I know it'll improve everybody's service. So I'm tickled to be involved in it.
And I believe the 911 board has voted support for the system.
Yes, the 911 board has basically looked at it and reviewed it, basically told Johnny, okay, push it, do whatever you can to get it. And that's why we're, the county commission also, push it and do whatever we can to get it done.
Okay. So let me open the floor for questions, comments.
When we started down this road, I had no idea it was as confusing and as many moving parts as there was. I'd like to thank everybody that participated, because there was a lot of conversations and a lot of different paths that had to be gone down to make sure that we were getting everybody covered. But it will be a great thing for the entire county and make it a lot better for us to communicate with one another. One question I had, how are the smaller municipalities integrated into it? Will they have the same purchasing power through the bid for any equipment they need to be able to communicate with the system? I mean, this is all over my head. I mean, I know that we have 911 dispatch and we have the county dispatch. We also have Stevenson dispatch and Bridgeport. Do they dispatch? So Hollywood.
Hollywood does not do their own dispatch, but they do. They have their own RMS, which is the record management system now, and then they can hook that into this. Most of the Hollywood dispatch is done through the sheriff's department as far as law enforcement and that sort of thing. The county 911 in our office does all medical and all fire dispatch for the whole county. So what we will do is I'm going to double check with the writer of the RFP and make sure that that's covered, so that the other people, if they want to buy into it, they can. If not, if for anything else, the way the system is written and the way the RFP is written, it requires this system, the CAD system, to be able to interface with any RMS system on the market today. Again, the RMS is the record management part of it. So they can keep their records on their location or in the cloud or whatever, and then the CAD information would go and pull from that for warrants, just about anything that any type of data. It's a giant database that keeps up with everything that agency does. So we're making sure that this will cover the whole county. We'll have one CAD system for the whole county, and then each agency that wants to connect to it, whatever they're using, will be able to connect to this CAD system.
That was my concern. I just wanted to make sure that it was going to be cost effective for them to be able to get on it, because this is a great opportunity for us all to get connected, share information, and help one another. And I didn't want it to be cost prohibitive for some of the smaller municipalities if they didn't have the purchasing power or whatever through this communication capability with the system.
Just to note, the RFP does have system options in it, and one of the options is providing pricing for complete installed additional workstation, so that we do get a price for a workstation that you could do purchase in place. So, I'm sorry.
No, just a couple of questions. Once this RFP is released, what's the timeline for?
That's really up to us. We're looking at probably 3 to 4 weeks. We're trying to get the ball rolling as quick as we can. We've been working on this since October, and we've had probably 8 or 9 meetings with different groups of people, with kind of a common core of people at each group. So we've gone over everything, we think we know what we want. We've hired a consultant that will help us. He's the one that wrote the RFP. That's what he does for 911 systems all over the county, or all over the state. So I feel like we've got a good RFP here, got good information in it. We've talked to 2 or 3 companies that I believe will be putting a bid in on it. We've gone and looked at other centers that have some of the systems that we think that we're going to be in line with. So probably, back to answer your question, I'm going to say 4 weeks is what we're going to give them, because we want to do a pre-bid conference about 2 weeks after we release it, and then that'll give them another 2 weeks to make sure that they've done and put forth a good bid for us.
So the RFP does propose, as Mr. Robbins says, just slightly less than 4-week process to get bids in-house.
So, so the next step in this process is us approving this RFP.
No, we don't have to.
It's just
The next step is we allow the RFP to go on the street, then we would get the bids in and approve the bids. We would approve the selected bid. That could be our next step.
My question is, does this need to come back on the next session, or what's the holdup for this?
I don't think there's any holdup. I think this was informational for us. It's been put together. Now it's release it. Committee has reviewed the RFP for adequacy, put it out and get the bids in. The next step would be to bring it back before us to approve a source selection.
All right, next question. Are there any purchases at this time that you see that will need to be made in addition to this? Any hardware, software, any things that's coming?
The only other additional to this will be any of the agencies that want a mobile system.
Right.
They will have to purchase, we will have the server for it, and then they'll have to purchase their laptops or tablets, whatever they're going to do.
But for you in your office, once you receive this, you're
We're done.
okay.
How long will it take to get the system built, implemented, once the bid is selected and the contractors get started?
Our consultant said that we could be looking at probably anywhere from 9 months to a year.
Wow.
Maybe even longer. This is not a simple process, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And not only do they have to get it built and installed, then we have to go through training and that sort of thing. So it will be, and not only our dispatcher, they'll need to be trained. We're going to have to train the people out in the field, the first responders, you know, and all the different agencies that's connected to us that we dispatch for.
And is this something that once the switch is flipped, it's flipped and you're running this system as opposed to
Yes.
We couldn't parallel the system to a little while just to...
Well, I mean, you're putting information into the system.
Yeah.
And it'd be like having 2 checking accounts or something, you know. You're gonna have to eventually say, we're gonna cut this. One of the companies that I know that have expressed some interest in this, they've got about 50 or 60 systems just in the state of Alabama.
Okay.
So this is not something that's new, and the way the RFP is written, you know, the company has to have at least 5 years in this industry producing a CAD system. So I feel like that once we're to the point to where everybody feels good about it, says, okay, today's the day, then
We just change
we'll take it
vehicles.
over. Yes, everybody will be trained, everybody will understand how to use it. Like with anything else, there's going to be hiccups, but I think that for the most part, and I think in the RFP, I don't remember the exact time, but they're required to leave or have their people on site with us to make sure that everything's running smoothly. Or is it a week, Chairman?
I thought it was closer to 30 days. I might be a little wrong with that, but it was.
It's at least enough to go through 2 or 3 shifts with every person that's going to be handling it.
And even after that period is over, they have to be responsive within 4 hours for any issue that comes up to the system. And that is through that's continuous.
I'm good.
Any other? Well, I think we all want to say.
Sounds good.
I'm not trying to speak for everybody, but I will say, thanks for the work you guys have done. Bob Spencer, a lot of folks, the mayor, 911 board, the sheriff's office, the police office, everybody has sat down and worked together to get this put together for us. So thank you. With that, in your packet is a job description for I am getting ahead of myself again. So let me find it. In your packet is last meeting we had, work session, there was a request to put together a criteria for Jackson County, a determination of investment in IDB funds. That has been drafted and put in your packet. This criteria takes from the local law that establishes the allocation of IDB funds to the Jackson County Commission, and also establishes in that local law specific criteria for its use. And so that was used as a part of that. In addition to what is in local law, a couple of items that we discussed as a part of our last look at this was that we would want to have a narrative description with cost estimates and design concepts for anything brought before us for use of IDB funds. And funds must be used in compliance with the application of the funds, or the funds must be returned to the commission. And the discussion was that the funds will be awarded every 2 years in non-election years, and that this grant application process will be advertised prior to sitting down and going through the process of looking at applications. So let me open for any questions or discussion regarding this.
The only question that I've had now, and this looks very, very well done compared to what we talked about before. I don't know if we want to consider this or we want to put this in, but I would personally hate for one area or another to be unfairly benefited by having a grant writer or a person that's devoted to that, and them regularly be submitting grants and there not be a fairer distribution of the money. Now, of course, I don't know that I'm saying it the way I want to, but I'd hate for town X or community X to regularly get the funds because they have a structure in place that allows them to get the funds, where other areas don't have that structure and they're missing out. And so do we need to put some kind of limit on repeats, or how often you can get the grant, or a maximum allocation? I mean, that may make it too cumbersome. I don't know.
I believe the intent of this process was really to look at trying to find, recruit industrial opportunities for Jackson County. The intent. But it does open up for economic purpose that benefits the county, which seems to extend that a little beyond that. But the delegation's intent was to recruit and do those kind of things that would facilitate the recruitment of industrial capability to the county. With that, I would just offer the thought as we look at applications, whenever we look at them, the most beneficial to the county seems to me to be the way I would think you would want to look at it, regardless of where it is. But in that, it's job growth, economic growth, those kind of things. But that's just my thought.
Yeah, are we going to have a specific grant application that will, require a request estimated a cost, the revenue that this particular project would bring in and that type of thing, lodging.
I think that's a good addition to this, to put together an application process that has to be filled out and submit those kind of data. That is compliance with what this grant is asking for here.
And maybe include on the application process that they disclose any other funds that they have received in the past 5-10 years. And that would touch on what you're talking about, someone with expertise in grant writing might have, upper hand.
Our new involvement with the Tennessee River Line and the Singer River Trail, I can see several projects in the future that could be applied for these that, would be impactful for, the entire county.
Yeah, I think that's a good thought, because tourism is an industry that is a tremendous opportunity for Jackson County, and we ought to consider that as industry. Just one thought we have down here, as we talked about, funds will be awarded every 2 years in non-election years. I would suspect that in the future we're going to see cases where an opportunity for an industrial development is going to come along that is not going to fit in an every 2-year cycle.
Yeah, the only thing a grant process is what I was considering.
Yeah, we were limiting ourselves to the interest made on this as opposed to, because I think if you got, let's just say, something similar to what happened at Bridgeport a couple of years back, if we can.
Yeah, there may be a case where you want to dig deep into the principle of these dollars to help get some industry here.
But I think the limitations are on that interest money, and I'll like the fact that it would be on non-election years, because I don't want it to appear to be, well, hey, here's an opportunity to for me to.
Well, we get requests. On election years, and like you alluded to, a lot of these other municipalities don't even know these funds, were there, just like the Skyline Park area, our property, that's an economic impact to the county, or to that community that, they could benefit from asking for some of these dollars.
That's right. It's a quality of life thing, and a tourism thing. Very good job on this framework right here. I concur with Jason. I think we need to have not so much complex, but a defined application process where these are the steps that somebody needs to take to show what their investment is, what other investments they've secured for. What's the return going to be on this money as far as jobs and economic return? And of course, I'm sure Nathan Lee and others can help with that, just for the grant process. So I like it.
I'm going to go back, and you can tell me this is over. But if the exceptional opportunity to entice an industry comes into Jackson County not in that year, do we take the opportunity?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
To dig into the principle of that money. I mean, we're just talking about using there's roughly $50,000 a year that goes into that account. So we wanted to do every other year, have a growth year for that $50,000 to continue to grow that fund, which I think is around $200,000 sitting in now. Then every other year, which is non-election year, we would do this grant process. But yeah, if we had an automotive manufacturer, a municipality had to have help, with an intersection or a turning lane or whatever to bring a business in, then I would say that we absolutely would go into the principle of those dollars.
I'm just leading us to, I want to make sure we put a note to this that allows us that exceptional opportunity comes along. Otherwise, we have in words
We don't want to tire them out.
Yeah, okay. Any other
You may,
comments?
you may want to include a provision that what you're talking about is the growth. You're not talking about the principle for these grants. So that's what these grants are for, is to tap into the growth that you're talking about, not the principle.
Actually, I'd like to limit the grants to the growth.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
the
otherwise-
revenue from the previous year only for the grants.
Yeah.
And if it's $47,000 or
Right.
$38,000 or whatever that revenue might be this year, that would be what we would present in grants next year.
Because, I mean, 4, 6, 8 years down the road, I'd hate for somebody to say, oh, well, we've got $250,000 for these community projects. I want to limit these type things to just the growth portion of it.
Okay. All right, we have a few adjustments to make, and we'll get it back to everybody and bring that for vote for approval. Next, in your packet is a job description for sanitation director. It is I will say, a combination of our existing job description as well as what we saw with modifications from the Auburn study. Pretty comprehensive. It's here for review and to come back at a later time to approve. I would recommend that the review study that and seek comments from members of the commission. Okay, any comment?
The comment I have, the minimum qualifications, which I'm just curious, and Ms. Willis, help me out here. So on page 5, minimum qualifications, it lists some very specific things that you have to have minimums of. And then 6 says any combination of education, training, experience that demonstrates the above knowledge, skills, and abilities commensurates with requirements of this job. Any industrial related certifications are a plus. So is that saying that any of these 1 through 5, or I'm confused by the verbiage in 6, or is it, hey, you got to do 1 through 5 and then 6 if you've got anything on top of this?
I think it is any combination of education, training, or experience in lieu of. That can be changed if you want.
Yes.
That's just Auburn's recommendation.
Because for me, I like the suggestion of these are what we're looking for, but I think we're boxing ourselves out of quality candidates if it's all these things are required. I mean, you're going to have a very narrow pool that's going to be able to say,
Right.
I've got 3 of this and 3 of that, plus I hold a degree. And so
That's not the intent of 6. The intent of 6 is to say, okay, if you find an exceptional candidate that is well qualified, that doesn't meet all of those,
Okay.
then that candidate is qualified for this job as well.
So
It's
as long
a
as that's-
combination of training experience that demonstrates that they have the knowledge.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know,
that
the
would
degree
preclude you-
portion was preferred.
Yeah. So that would preclude something, obviously, we may get some great experience, years of experience, but not have a bachelor's degree.
Exactly.
So,
Let's just wake him up and say, if Rocky wants to become the same.
so we'll,
I'm not qualified.
Well, I think you are. And of course, I'm just joking, but, you know, I think as long as 6 reads the way that I think that it reads, I'm cool with the job description. Because I just don't want us to miss out on a quality applicant because they miss out on one of the minimums.
Right.
experience is going to be critical to this job. It is a very demanding job. to run the business side of it as well as the leadership and management side of it. So this is here. I would ask if anybody has any additions, deletions, whatever, please give them to Michelle so we can adjust this job description. In the packet is the old previous job description for reference. Okay, if no further comment there, that's the conclusion of our work session. Let me now go to reports from the staff, county administrator, okay, county engineer.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. I'd like to provide some updates on current projects this time, if I may. Starting with Rebuild Alabama, County Road 38 first, cross-drain and patching work is complete. We still like stockpile material for the scrub and sand seal, and it's obviously awaiting those treatments. That's the pavement preservation process that'll be last in that. Also, in addition to County Road 38 is the grant for the guardrail project. That's 2 locations that are scheduled for that, and that's still on track for a July letting. County Road 96 has seen some work since the last update. Cross drains are complete on that, and the patching work was scheduled to finish today. And then it will still lack the microsurfacing treatment on from one end to the other. Next, County Road 75, cross drain work completed, and patching is to start later this week, and then the overlay will be remaining on that. So coming next on that will be some milling and extra depth patching in the area of the bridge underpass. That's going to require some intermittent closures for that because it narrows down to 1 lane in that location, and it's fairly high volume of traffic. So there may be calls, but these advertisements have been posted for that. So just a heads up that that's coming.
And Jonathan, in that area, having worked in that community for years, if there's any rain at all that collects in that spot, is there something that we can do to alleviate that? Because I know whatever patching you do there, having constant water is going to cause a problem. I mean, I know because of the construct of it, it is what it is, but
there are some major challenges in that location. Number one, the narrowness and the height limitation on just the opening period, but also the fact that there are no gutters built into that. So it's essentially the low point. So the cross drain work that took place was to help alleviate some of the surface runoff in that area.
okay.
And we have a plan on how to slope the pavement and hopefully get at least some part of a gutter into the lower side of that. So one problem is it's basically normal crown that's under there now, so we hope to eliminate that.
Okay.
We're limited in what we can do. It's a railroad-owned structure. Okay, next, County Road 83. There's an advertisement and a cross-drain replacement will take place tomorrow between County Road 61 and County Road 456. You may have gotten that notice today. Following these projects, County Road 88 will be the next on the horizon, and the work that's planned to take place for that has also been advertised, and a notice went out today. This will see several weeks of road closures, so there's 10 cross drains that need to be replaced in this project, and then extra depth patching and the work. That's it on rebuild. Any questions about those projects before I move on? Looking now at local roads, and just a reminder, that's the 22-mile list plus High Top Circle. They're now in your district, Kevin, on County Road 140. They have made their way down most of this list as far as paving prep. There's still a host of roads that material needs to be stocked for, and there's still roads remaining to be prepared. County Road 140 is a long project, 2.5 miles. County Road 56 and High Top Circle. County Road 56 is over 2 miles, and High Top Circle will be following those. The slope failures, drilling was scheduled to begin on May 9th, and I looked for that to start on 38. As of April 13th, they were still surveying on County Road 93. I know that they're compiling survey and the geophysic works on 38, so I think 93 is just a little behind on progress. There was also a notice sent out today for emergency road closure that's planned for tomorrow, and that's on County Road 262. That is near address 1326, so that's emergency cross-drain replacement that needs to take place, and that's planned for tomorrow. That's it on road updates. As far as the vacancy front, I think someone had asked about that last update time. HMT2's interviews are set for May 3rd, and HMT1 advertisement started at the end of last week, and that'll run through May 6th. So this will be the first entry-level openings and advertisements we have since the new ELDT law, the entry-level driver training. We'll see what challenges that presents. So that's scheduled for May 6th ending, and then interviews after that.
Okay, on the 154 project in section Macedonia, you said this, the prep has been done on it. There's additional work to be done, and I just wanted it to get on film to say what exactly is the next step for that.
So 154 had a cross-drain replacement there that was done after the road prep. That area will have to be touched up, as well as anywhere else in the road that they see before paving. So the good news of 154 is the materials are stocked. So in the road preparation process, through the reclamation, reshaping, compacting, getting the road ready to pave for the contractor, part of that process is stocking material, then it's treated with liquid calcium chloride. The road is shaped up, and basically, like now, we wait for seasonal limitations to lift. So if the contractor were ready, he couldn't start until May, but we know we'll be worked in with a lot of other counties. So our goal is to be ready on all those locations in that 22-mile list. So that's what they've been working hard to do.
All right. And thank you for the ditch work done going down to Bucks Pocket. That's a big improvement, and it just looks so much better than the new signs going that way. I think that's going to greatly enhance people's comfort and understanding on how to get there. I'm appreciative of the work you guys are doing on that. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words. I'll pass that on. And Bucks Pocket, like many areas of the county, it goes neglected, quite honestly, due to lack of ability to get around all the locations. So thank you for that. Any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Thank you. County Attorney?
All right, like that.
Okay. Any other of our directors, any comments? Yes, sir. Mr. Coleman.
Real quick, just a brief update.
Sir. Hi, boy.
Thank you, gentlemen. As you're aware, we've been awarded a little bit of ARPA funds from TARCOG. I just wanted to put something down on paper, just to put in front of you what our kind of initial thoughts are. I won't run through all 15. Just let you read through that, and I'll come back at the next meeting with a more detailed plan. And if you have any additions that you guys can think of, please let me know.
Okay. Thank you.
Short and sweet. Thank you.
Okay. I'll promise you, it's all that pollen that's been in the air for a while.
Battling it all week.
Oh, man. Okay, with that, we'll move into comments from commissioners. District 4, Commissioner McBride.
Just want to say thank you guys for all the hard work you do with everyone who works with the county. The 911 board really appreciate the work you're doing. We realize how response time is very, very important. It's crucial, and with this upgrade, it's going to help that. Many times seconds save lives, and we certainly don't want communication to be a failure that would cause someone to pass because they couldn't get their ducks in a row or get the communication that they needed. So we appreciate that, and with that, I'll say y'all be careful going home.
Very good.
District 3, Commissioner Buck.
Again, I want to brag on Bucks Pocket. What a treasure we have there. If you've not been over there recently, go to Bucks Pocket, see the views, experience the water. Saturday, I just went and walked the trail and said that stream needs to be set in for a little bit. It was very restorative. I mean, it's just a beautiful place to be. So We've got a Tennessee Riverline project coming up on May the 7th. It's a cleanup of the riverside. Excited to hear that Scottsboro Water, Sewer, and Gas is going to be helping sponsor that. If you want the community service project, we'll be at Sportsman's Landing on May the 7th to do that. But again, I echo the sentiments on the E911. Thank you for that's a tall order what y'all done, and I know it'll save lives. So thank you for that.
Okay, District 2, Commissioner Venable.
I don't have anything to add to that, sir.
Okay, my only comment is, again, thanks for those folks who have spent a lot of dedicated years serving our county, and thanks for the opportunity to recognize them tonight. Our next meeting date is 9 May 2022. At this time, if I, excuse me, folks.
You're fine.
That's water. I promise you, that's all. Okay. If I could consider a motion to go into executive session for the good name and character of an individual.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, a second.
I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Meeting, we will go into executive session.